Ime, what were the main source of the offensive issues that you guys had tonight?
Uh, Missed shots, close range shots. I think 23 for 55 in the paint. A lot of really good looks there. Didn't get up that many threes, only 18 on the night, made 6 of them, so that's a low number for the threes that we had been generating. And then the zone that they ran got us a little stagnant. And But when we did find the openings in the middle, missed the threes that would kick out or the close range shots. And so, as I said the other night, sometimes shots go in and it masks some things, and tonight it stood out the other way.
I know it's kind of hard to look at this immediately after the season ends, but how do you view this season as a whole?
Some growth, some good, some bad. Obviously, a poor ending. To play, one of our worst games in the playoffs in Game 7. We had a few bad ones early and kind of corrected ourselves from there in a lot of ways on both sides of the ball, and then to come out a little bit flat tonight. Obviously, that's going to leave a sour taste in our mouth for sure. But you look at big picture, the growth that we made. We just said no moral victories and whatever. We could be much more consistent, but getting to the 2 seed and 50 whatever wins and the growth that guys have showed, kind of have a blueprint for where we want to be and the standard on a year-to-year basis. But all that doesn't really matter when you go out with a chance to move on, obviously, and advance. And like I said, kind of laying an egg in our last game. It's going to sting for a minute.
Ime, you mentioned the zone throwing y'all out of rhythm a little bit. What was it about just sort of the way they implemented their zone and how y'all attacked it?
We found it when we usually find Alperen in the middle, we get good results, whether it's kicking it out for the threes, and we had some of those, but also just the openings at the basket. And it felt like we missed a lot of point-blank shots, and the offensive rebounds, although we have 14, didn't really have a great percentage on the second chance, only made 50% of those. And so a little bit of that. I mean, then the other part, obviously, they had the most success against our zone for the first time in the series, and Hield got loose there. So they hurt us when we were in zone, and vice versa. We struggled against theirs.
Coach, the playoffs are obviously a different thing than the regular season, but is there anything you learned about yourself or about this team during this particular series?
We can't waste opportunities. You have that week of preparation while teams are in the playing and doing those things, and we have to come out a little bit sharper for sure. Feel like we had wasted opportunities in the early games. You can kind of throw away game 1 with a poor offensive performance. Another game we didn't shoot it well, and then you win 2, and then 3 and 4, it's right there. And you have those one possession games where, like I said, it's the free throws or missed shots or small things, letting some guys get loose and hurt us. And so felt we had chances there to not even be in this position. And so the urgency to adjust on the fly and improve from game to game took us a little bit of time, and felt like obviously we got rolling in Game 5, but a little bit too late to be in this position right now.
Ime, why do you think Jalen struggled so throughout the series, and what do you think or hope he can learn from the series?
You have to look at it as a sign of respect the way they went after him. Obviously, a leading scorer, and their objective was to take him out of the series. And like I've said throughout the series, he gets the ball out of his hands and gets us the numbers and the advantage. He's done his job there, and you have to try to take advantage of opportunities in transition when we get stops and get out and run and kind of be more efficient as far as that. But when teams want to blitz you, like I said, I always say we should welcome that and kind of pick that apart. We've seen it quite a bit this year with him, and so he's improved in that area. But he didn't get a ton of shots, honestly, throughout the series. Or when they did guard him regularly, he obviously had a big night, and then they went right back to what they were doing. And so it's going to sting for him as well, not having his best performance in the series. But at the same time, like I said, you got to take advantage of those numbers, and he did his job to get off the ball, and everybody could have played better tonight, obviously.
Ime, with Amen, what was most impressive about him during his first playoff experience, and particularly the last 4 games of this series?
Yeah, similar to some of the other young guys who were a little rattled early on. He didn't start his best in the series. I think the first two maybe 3 games, a little subpar for him. And he just kept grinding, kept his head down, and got in attack mode and took off from there. And so the defensive effort, he had to exert that energy, and defense he displayed was top notch like always. But for him, he just kept attacking, never lost confidence or aggressiveness. And so finished on a good note. Obviously, tonight was good for him as well. Probably our most consistent guy tonight, but he learned like he does on the fly, and really had a really good series after probably game 3.
Not to take anything away from the Warriors, of course, but would you say you guys beat yourselves more often than not in this series?
At times, for sure. Like I was mentioned, you miss free throws. That's a sign right there. In a one possession game, you miss 12 free throws or whatever it was. You saw the numbers when we missed free throws in the 3 games that we lost early. So that part stands out. Open shots are open shots. You're going to make them, you're going to miss them, and I think nobody's intentionally trying to miss the shots. So we had the poor shooting nights where we played good enough defense, and so, like I said, those ones stood out, especially 2 games, game 3 and 4 in Golden State, where we really had great opportunities to come back home and really put some pressure on them. And so those parts stand out, our offensive performance in some of those, and then tonight not coming out our best. So they're a veteran group that switch some things up and take us out of our game plan a little bit tonight. But overall, we had opportunities throughout the series to really put pressure on them.
And you touched on it a little bit, but just all the missed shots in the paint, like 30-something. Were they doing anything in particular to make that more difficult in the paint?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think the playoffs are physical. It is what it is. You have to play through some contact and not seek fouls, go to finish. And at times I think we kind of got knocked off our spot, but we were doing the same thing as well to them. And so you got to give it on one end and take it on the other end, and just had to be a little bit more strong with our finishes, no doubt, or find your outlets instead of shooting over a few people. But I wouldn't say anything else for today specific. They are really good at positionally coming across and helping and being in the right spots, but lack rim protection. And so you just got to, with our athletes and our size advantage, you got to just finish those easy ones.
Fred has a club option for next season. Is he a guy you want and expect back on this team next year? And can you speak to just kind of the partnership that you guys seem to have here together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think both sides want to be here and want him here. From day one, as I've talked about, the importance of him, at the point guard position, kind of leading us in a lot of ways and allowing guys to grow at the same time and understanding, what he walked into, what he signed with, and he's a huge part of our growth in general. And so, love everything he's done. Perfect combination of on-ball, off-ball for our guards and our young guys to grow. And obviously love to have him back, and I think the feeling's mutual.
With the offense struggling against the zone throughout the game, was there any thought to play Jabari more minutes with his ability to stretch the floor and, of course, shoot over defenders?
Yeah, I think we gave everybody a shot off the bench for sure. We didn't particularly shoot it well or score well off the bench. I think we had 11 total combined, so it wasn't our best night as far as that either. I think, like I said, we were guarding well enough throughout the series, and so we like some of our matchups with keeping our men on Curry and Fred there, and so the defensive part was good. You think you get your offense going a little bit more. Like Alpy had the opportunities. I think Dylan had some really good looks, and others did as well, even guys coming off the bench. So, combination of their zone and just us having a poor shooting night obviously stands out. But Jabari or anybody, obviously didn't have the best night.
You mentioned Fred. He didn't get as many clean looks as he had been getting. What did they do differently on Fred?
Yeah, they were much more aggressive on him in the pick and roll. Obviously, he's had 2 or 3 really big games, and the attention that they showed to Jalen, they seem to do that as well. But as I always say, if he's going to make the right play, we have to, score with the numbers behind it. And I think that was the point of us missing some of the kick-out threes or rim shots. And so he got the ball to the guys, and they have to finish from there. So do your job when you get 2 on the ball. And like I said, he's going to find the outlets and just had to score better in the paint, especially on the easy ones.
Coach, I know the mood probably wasn't, the best once you went into the locker room. But what was your overall message to them?
We had our chances in this series. We all expected to continue to be playing, obviously, and so that's a letdown. But it's going to sting now. Use it as motivation and the growth and the things we've learned and showed this year. Let's all come back better, coaches included. And so that was the message. Don't be satisfied. We had whatever amount of wins in second place and all that, but nobody cares about that right now. It's where we finished, and experience is out of the way. everybody will take a look internally and see how we can all improve and come back better and not settle for first round or just making the playoffs, but advance.
Ime, this is your second year with this group. You talked about the growth from year one to year two. Can this team take that next step? And if so, what do you need to do in order to get there?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Took a big one this year as far as not just in the win column, but overall guys understanding. I think our biggest thing for us, experience is one thing for sure. That comes with time and being in the playoffs and things like that. I think for us, it's the IQ got to improve overall. Just everybody being on the same page, and that comes with experience and going through certain things. But yeah, I think we can absolutely take another jump. We have to. We can't just come back the same, and that's the message to the guys. And so, a lot of obviously physical work to be done. Guys getting stronger and growing into their bodies and all those things. But the mental side is going to be really important for us. And we got some guys that have that experience, and if we can get everybody on that same page and grow in that area, I think that's going to help us take the biggest jump.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to congratulate Houston. What a series that was. They had a great season. A lot of good things ahead for that team. Ime did an amazing job. And really the whole rebuild over the last couple of years has been so impressive. And we were lucky to get out of this series. But much respect to the Rockets and their staff and their organization. They have a great team and they had a great season. Couldn't be more proud of our guys. That was an incredibly impressive display of resolve, discipline. The defense was fantastic. The ball security, kind of game plan discipline, followed to a T, and then multiple guys stepping up. Buddy Hield, I don't know what to say. I mean, that was really incredible watching him light it up in that first half especially, and then down the stretch as well. But I can't say enough about our guys and what they were able to do in this series and to pull this thing out on the road in Game 7. Pretty impressive.
Steve, they cut a 15-point lead down to like 3. Jimmy gets that corner 3 out of a double team, and then he finds Draymond twice. And then it looks like maybe in the huddle between the third and fourth, you guys make an adjustment to get Steph attacking the rim a little bit, and you got him free. What did you guys do there?
Well, it's always matchup based, and so if you can find an advantage with the personnel they have on the floor, then you try to get Steph in pick and roll with a particular player or two, and I think it just kind of played out that way. The way the game was going, they've done a great job of taking away the Steph Draymond pick and roll all series by putting Fred VanVleet on Draymond and putting their center on one of our wings, and so that was really a great strategic move for them. And I think in the fourth quarter, because of the matchups, we were able to get Draymond back in the pick and roll with Steph a couple of times. I thought Steph was brilliant tonight. I know he got off to a slow start shooting the ball, but the whole key to the game was taking care of the ball, and he managed the game beautifully. And it's just a matter of time before his shot goes in. But the reason we had the 11-point lead at half or whatever it was, 12, was because of the way Steph took care of the ball, got us into our offense, and settled the game down.
Steve, you've been through so much with Steph and Draymond. This was their 6th Game 7 together. What can you say about the tone that Draymond set on Sengun and obviously the way that Steph was able to close it out?
Draymond set the tone last night at the team meeting. Basically, he owned up to losing his poise in Game 6, and I agreed with him. I thought the flagrant foul 4 minutes into the game was a tone setter, and he knew it, and so he talked to the group last night and said, I got to be poised and I have to be better, and we're going to come in here tomorrow and get it done. And I think his emotional stability tonight, just his poise from the start, I thought it set a great tone.
Steve, you said last night that you were considering all options for the lineup. How close? I mean, Buddy didn't play that great the last 2 games. How close were you to not starting him? And what about tonight's game? Did he get more space than he's gotten? Or
I never wavered on starting Buddy. The lineup that we started tonight has been by far our best 5-man unit in this series, and so I knew I was going to stay with Buddy. And I like the way that group looks. We knew they were going to play a lot of zone. We finally got better spacing against the zone, and we were able to get some good looks. And of course, Buddy, getting hot changed the whole game in the first half.
Steve, is this the kind of team that does an unusual amount of introspection between games, especially going into a tough game like this, and more talking among themselves? Is this a kind of
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I said, Draymond really he's our leader, and when he's right, like he was tonight, he's an incredible player to watch. The defense just kind of owning the court on that side of things, and then just being patient and not turning it over and being in the right spots offensively. So I think the guys understood after Game 6. We were scattered. We were out of sorts. I didn't do a good job getting them ready. I think we let our guard down, frankly, in Game 6. And so tonight was as good as it gets in terms of focus and the players executing the game plan and just showing resolve for 48 minutes.
You mentioned a few times that this was like a difficult series for Draymond offensively because of what they're doing. How much is that mental for him too? When your strategy at that point has to be him to kind of get away from the action, how much do you think that is tough for him to just kind of be out of the fray?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Ime did a great job and his staff of, trying to take Draymond out of things. With matchups, with the way they were playing, with zone, and he was definitely flustered, quite a bit throughout the series. And I just thought, today, that shoot around last night at the meeting, you could see Draymond, you could see a change in his approach, basically admitting, like, I've lost my poise, and it's cost us, and I will be there. To do my job tonight, and I thought he was incredible.
Steve, you were able to hold the Rockets to just 18 three-point attempts, and Fred VanVleet only got, I think, 6 shot attempts from distance. Was there any sort of adjustment when it came to making sure the Rockets didn't go off from 3? Or?
Well, the biggest thing we did was we battled for every 50-50 ball. It seemed like they got all of them last game, and there were so many kick-out threes after loose balls, long rebounds. And even though they got 14 offensive boards tonight, we were in the fight every single loose ball, long rebound. And then after they got the rebound, we were sprinting out to three-point shooters, which we didn't do in Game 6. So I thought that was a crucial part of the game today.
Byproduct of playing in a Game 7 and having your season on the line.
No question. The Game 7 on the road, if you don't bring it, you're going home, and our guys brought it.
Just how would you, big picture, contextualize this series for Steph, what he navigated, the arc of the series, and then the way he was able to finish?
The main thing is I'm blown away by Steph's competitive fight. At 37, been doing this forever, got 4 rings, gold medal, everything he could possibly want in his life, he's got. He has nothing to prove, and yet he's going to come in and try to prove something every single night. It's amazing. Draymond, too. Jimmy, too. And that's the common theme, the common denominator with all these guys. It's their competitive force, that how much they love to play and compete and win, and the process of going through it and putting themselves on the line. The fact that these guys continue to put themselves on the line year after year after year, it just blows me away, the competitive spirit and energy and love for the game. It's beautiful to watch.
You talk about that competitive spirit with them. What about a guy like Buddy, who's known more for his sort of personality in the locker room and keeping things light and all the joking. But obviously, to produce the way he did in this setting, there has to be some of that in him too.
I thought his defense was tremendous tonight too. You know, one of the keys to the game was Fred VanVleet only got 2 free throws. Fred has just destroyed us the last 3 games. He's had an amazing series. He completely flipped things with his play. Last game we fouled him several times, you know, on his mid-range stuff, pull-ups. And I thought Buddy did a great job on him and on Green. So this was not just a lights out shooting performance from Buddy. It was also a 2-way performance. I thought his defense was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason everybody loves Buddy. You know, he's just fun-loving. He's hilarious. He can laugh at himself, but he loves to play basketball and he loves to work at the game. And you know, he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, and he's had a really successful career. But this is really his first real playoff run, and I think he is relishing it. And the guys, they see how much he loves it and how much he wants to contribute. And what a night for him.
Steve, looking ahead to the second round, what are your thoughts on just the matchup with Minnesota and especially Anthony Edwards?
I'm not talking about Minnesota right now. We will talk about them tomorrow. So we're just gonna enjoy the win tonight and you know, spend the night, and we'll get ready for Minnesota tomorrow. But we're excited. We're thrilled. I mean, when I think back to the trade deadline where we were as a team, I'm so proud of these guys for what they've accomplished to put us in a position, you know, as Steph says, to play meaningful basketball and to give ourselves a chance. And this is all you want every year. It's, you know, do you have a chance? And we've got a chance with this group, and they're an amazing group of men to coach and to be with and to collaborate with, and couldn't be more proud. Thank you.
Alpi, what did you kind of learn about yourself through this series, being asked to do a lot defensively and also battling with Draymond Green on the other end?
Man, learned a lot, you know, first time playoff for me, and one of the best players being in the league long time. Just learned a lot, man. Learn the aggressiveness, defense, play both way, you know, just try to win, you know, try to help my teammates, but, you know, just got to learn and move on.
Fred, I know you guys are crushed right now, but big picture, how proud are you of the young guys and the way that they handled the pressure in their first playoff series?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of these guys. You know, I look at all these guys like my baby brothers, except for they're not babies anymore. You know, they grew up a lot this year and made huge strides. Incredible regular season, and just a tough way to end the season. It's always tough, but it's only one team that can win the championship. So it's a heartbreaking loss. You know, Game 7 can go either way. Wasn't our best performance, but we're not gonna sum up the whole experience based on one night. I'm proud of everybody. Made huge strides down the list. The entire roster was key. It's one of my favorite seasons that I've been a part of, and I think that everybody should be excited, you know, about the future and what's to come.
Fred, you have a club option on your contract for next season. Do you want and expect to be back? And could you speak about your partnership with Ime Udoka? It seems more than a normal player-coach relationship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I'm a little new here, but I'm never going to speak about contract stuff publicly. I handle the business behind closed doors, but obviously I put my heart and soul into this, and this is where I want to be, and it's definitely a family situation. I got a lot of love for our coaching staff and Rafael and the Fertitta family, and just what we set out to do. You know, when I had my free agent meeting 2 years ago, and we're on that track, and it was never a short-term vision. It was a long-term goal. So we're on track. We're on schedule. It's a tough way to lose in the season, but my mind's very far away from contract stuff right now. We'll get to that when it's time.
Fred, you played with some of the best and against some of the best. What can Jalen Green take from this playoff series to fuel him going into next season and in the future?
Yeah, just stuff to work on.
in the off season, fuel, motivation. Every great player has struggled at times. Every great player had to learn how to adjust and adapt. The ultimate sign of respect from the opposing team is to take him out. We saw them do that in multiple games this series. But Jalen's gonna be all right. I'm not really online right now, so I'm not. I keep hearing like the narratives that are going on. I haven't really seen much of it, but we're not gonna make this about Jalen. You know what I mean? He had an incredible season this year. He carried us a lot, made big strides, played unbelievable basketball, and obviously, in the playoffs it's tough. You got to find ways to be effective, and I believe in him, and I know that he's going to use this summer to get even better and come back next year a better player.
I don't have your first playoff experience off the top of my head, but are those things that you could share with Jalen, that it does get better, or what are those type of things? How do you look to impart that knowledge?
I mean, everybody's journey is different, right? But I mean, I can share with him what I've seen and what I've been through, and again, it's the weight of the world seems to be on his shoulders at times with everybody else's expectations. But I mean, he played well. He played team basketball. It wasn't we were a balanced group all year. It never really was about one guy all season. So we knew that they were going to load up on him. They did it. We played them 12 times, I think, this year. So they kind of played them the same way every game. But again, as on the path to greatness, there's going to be stumbles and shortcomings and failures. And when you don't win a championship, it feels like failure. And you use that, in your summertime as you prepare and get ready to come back a better player.
Fred, Ime really asserted himself in the second half of the series. What was the most impressive thing to you about him in his first playoff appearance?
Problem solving. Again, he's starting to problem solve in real time, starting to read defenses, starting to figure out where he can find his spots. He's such a athletic force, but I think at times he can get slowed down trying to think and overthink a little bit. So once he found his spots, he was able to get downhill. Sky's the limit for him. Obviously, he was huge for us, and coming out of the 3-1 hole and him finding that attack mode, he just adds another dynamic to our team. So super proud of him.
Fred, in postgame, Steve Kerr said you'd been a series changer, and they wanted to try to stop that. I wonder, from your point of view, what you saw that they did differently tonight than they had.
Yeah, I felt it tonight. Definitely stay home a little bit more. Definitely show some more pressure. Bringing the big up a little bit higher on the screens, fighting over a little bit harder. I mean, honestly, it felt like we were 3 for 12 from 3 the whole entire game before the last 2 minutes, so we didn't even get any attempts up. It was a game plan thing they did. So we got some twos, didn't shoot great from 2, so, it's hit or miss there, but it was just a numbers game tonight. I think Buddy Hield outshot us by himself from 3, so this new era is hard to compete, at that level of shot making threes more than 2 is just the way it goes. But they did a good job of taking away a lot of our looks, staying home, and forcing us to take 2s, and we just didn't convert at a high enough clip in the paint.
Hey, Alpi, what do you feel like you learned about yourself during the playoffs?
What I learned real basketball. Of course we had really good season, but this was different, and we just learned a lot. We learned how to play together. We played the team over and over 7 times, so just trying to stay together. Talk every day, and it was just hard series for us. Especially obviously we are upset right now, but it's gonna be a great off season for us, and just get better next year.
Alpi, being defended by Draymond for these last 7 games, are there little counters that you feel like that you can pick up pretty quickly to make it easier to score against really good defenders like him?
I mean, obviously he's one of the best defender of all time, so it was great to play against him. But of course, I have a lot to work and making all those easy shots. I just gotta be, I'm gonna work a lot this off season on those shots and come back even stronger next year, and hopefully make those next year in the playoffs.
Alpi, when you and Jalen first came in, it wasn't the best of situations here with the organization, and what you all went through the first 2 years. What was the conversation that you and Jalen had, after tonight's game? As far as I know that it's disappointing right now, but it's well far away from what you all came into.
I mean, we were talking. We earned this. We earned to come here, and it was just been long journey, me and him together, and it was just happy to see us over here together. It's obviously it's upsetting losing, but we got to learn a lot, and take this series a compliment for us, and just get better and better, and come back next year even stronger. I believe in us, and we're gonna come back stronger and stronger, and it's gonna be different next year.
Fred, what happened that moment with you and Draymond where he knocked you down? Did he talk to you afterwards as well?
I think I hit the ball. The ball went flying. Obviously, flowed a little bit, knocked me down. But yeah, listen, I got a lot of love for Draymond. I know what he brings to the table. Those guys you hate to play against, but you love to play with them. So yeah, just competing. We got a good enough rapport to work that stuff out. So that was nothing.
Alperen, in the back, you talk about working in the offseason and coming back stronger next year. What area in your game are you maybe wanting to focus on or to develop?
I think I improved my defensive way this season, but I got to work a lot more in my offense, I think. And I didn't have a great year with my offense. I was even better last year, I would say, and I just kind of was struggling with offense. But I'm just gonna focus on that and on my body, on my touch, everything, And I'm gonna long summer is waiting for me, so I have a lot to do.
Say about what Buddy did tonight for you guys?
He was huge. The 33 points were great. 9 threes, incredible. But what he did on the defensive end was even more impressive. He took on every matchup that he had, whether it was Jalen, Fred, all over the hawking the ball handler. He ended up with Sengun on the post. Made him force a miss. Knocked the ball out. We was able to come up with the loose ball. He made winning plays all night. Huge game for him, 37 minutes. I'm not sure he's played that amount of minutes all year. But stayed the course. When we needed him most, he delivered. And if I didn't throw him a grenade, he would have been 9 for 10 for 3, but I threw him a grenade, so I'll take that one.
Draymond, Coach, before you came in, he said that your emotions played a big part in this. What were what was that conversation with the team before you guys came out tonight?
I thought, my people I trust them most had, we had some heart-to-hearts after last game. My wife, one of my closest friends, Travis, my barber was one of my closest friends, Coach Izzo, and I pouted way too much last game. So I spent the last 2 days embarrassed, just at what I gave to the game, what I gave to the world. I was embarrassed, and so I've been dying since the last game ended to get out on the floor and prove who I am. One thing about this league, you're never done proving who you are until you're done, completely finished. And so I wanted to come out and prove again just who I am, with poise, but with the same fire, same tenacity, but poise. And I think I delivered that and gave our guys something to follow. What I gave them last game to follow, they followed it. And that's why we got bullied. But I think I gave them something different to follow today. And that was the message, that was the goal. We got it done.
Draymond, Steve said that you set the tone last night at the team dinner with that speech. What goes into deciding to give that speech, and what was the reception from the rest of your teammates?
Well, I think what goes into it is it's really deciding who's going to get a speech. Obviously, I always try to defer to Steph, defer to Jimmy, and they wanted me to speak. But I had a lot to say. And like I said, most importantly was calling myself out. You can't go into a game 7 expecting guys to rally off the game we had before and not address it. And so I wanted to address that, number one. But then secondly, tell everybody else what we needed, which was a togetherness like no other. In our huddles together, trusting in each other and believing. And so thought it was much needed. But as much as I think this team needed it, I feel like I needed it for myself even more. Because you got to be accountable. You can't be a leader and not be accountable. And you call other guys out. When their shit stinks, then you better say when yours does too. And that's what I tried to make a point in doing.
After 13 years and 6 Game 7s together with Steph, what does it mean to you to walk off the court after a game like that?
It means a lot, especially losing a 3-1 lead, having to come on the road and win it. Means a ton to continue playing at this level, having the opportunity to compete at this level. And it's a little more special that we've done it here before. So it's a familiar feeling.
Draymond, couldn't help notice you and Steve having a shoot around, mostly Steve talking and you listening. Just what was kind of the mood of that one?
Just really setting the tone for what he needed from me today, which is poise, leadership. But he had some great words. He gave me a story, a few different stories. They were great, but I think the gist of it was just, you've done so much. Whether we win or lose this game, when it's all said and done at the end of your career, nobody will remember. So go out, have fun with poise, give your guys something to follow. He told me you're one of the most competitive people I've ever been around, and one of the greatest leaders I've been around. So it's my job to let you know what your leadership should be tonight, like how you need to lead, what that needs to look like for tonight. It's my job to prepare you for that. My job to get you ready emotionally to play. And it's one of the better conversations we've ever had, and we've had some great ones. But that one I'll remember for the rest of my life.
You talked about the huddles. I noticed you had a huddle right before the start, before tip-off, maybe in a different kind of way. It definitely sounded or felt like it was a little more emotional. Was that a big moment for you?
It was definitely a big moment for us, for me, for us. The emotions in the Game 7 run high, and we just wanted to make sure we were on the right side of that. Not tightening up, because you got to be loose, but understanding what every possession means. Understanding that we weren't giving our energy to anything outside of ourselves. And thinking setting that tone, we did that.
How would you contextualize this series for Steph, with just the way that he defended him, the way he performed, and then finishing with 14 fourth-quarter
That
points
was
tonight?
huge. That's why he is who he is. He just made the simple play tonight. Had 3 points for a lot of the game, and then he bust out. But he made the right play. He just moved the ball on and trusted other guys to make the play because of how they was guarding him. And it's a beautiful game to see him close it out. He knew once, like, all right, now it's time for me to take over and take this thing home. It was beautiful, man. But I want to give a lot of credit to that team down there. Ime, the way he had those guys fighting, I gained a lot of respect for that team throughout this series. One of the tougher series I've played in, personally. But that's a young team to be reckoned with. And I told myself I was going to talk crazy because they have been talking crazy all series and on the internet, but I gained so much respect for those guys. Sengun is an incredible player. The way Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams led those guys, they had no experience, and they led them, took us to the brink. That team's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I hope they understand it. Things can change fast in this league. You're only on the up until you're not, But they got something promising that they can continue to build on. Jabari Smith, incredible. He played like a vet this whole series, getting his spots, knocking big shots down. A lot of respect for those guys.
Draymond, Steve talked about meaningful basketball and being able to play it this time of year. When you go back to the trade deadline and all what's proceeded since then, are these the kind of games you were thinking about playing when the trade happened and just in this moment?
Absolutely. This is exactly what the trade was for, to get back to this level, play meaningful basketball, as Steph has been saying all year. And Jimmy, just what he's been to this group, has allowed us to be in this position to continue our season and possibly do something special.
Dre, you talked about winning the championship shortly after the trade on All-Star Weekend. But now that you have gone, you still have to go through the war. Like now that you've gone through a 7-game battle, what do you feel this group is capable of doing moving forwards in the next round?
I think this group is capable of exactly what we set out to do, which is win a championship. We know the things that we need to improve on and continue to get better at. But I got the utmost confidence in this group. Didn't want to go 7 games, but it won't hurt us with that experience that our young guys got the opportunity to get. But I think we're right where we need to be, right where we want to be, with an opportunity to continue to extend this thing, and we believe. Yeah, I mean, I was never rattled, but, with every win, I think that grows.
When you talk about feeling embarrassed the past couple of days leading into tonight, how do you use that as fuel, and how do you, in what ways do you channel that feeling onto the court?
Well, I had to channel it in a different way because that could lead you to, come out and I want it so bad. I actually went the opposite way. I listened to all slow music the last couple days, just kind of calm myself down, went to the spa, meditate, because I know I can ratchet my intensity up. I know I'm going to meet the intensity level, but I felt like I was going too far. I listened to Checkout Time on the way to the game the other day, and that was the exact mindset I had going into that game. So wanted to change it up a little bit today. Some Brent Fayez, SZA, 90s R&B, just kind of completely changed it up. So it was good for me.
Jalen Green came into the series, their leading scorer, and y'all had different guys on him throughout the series. And I think just one game he was able to get off. How were y'all able to corral him, kind of keep him in check throughout the series?
I think doing your work early. We did a good job on him to start the series, and I think that kind of rattled his confidence a little bit. This isn't something he's been a part of before. He's a good young player. He'll learn from his mistakes. But you got to give the guys credit that was guarding him. Buddy, Steph, BP, GP, JK, anybody who was on him, he was a focal point in trying to take him out of this series. We know what they're capable of when he's scoring. And so we really wanted to take him out of the series, and I think we did a good job of it. But like I said, he's a good young player. He'll grow. He'll continue to learn from this. Tough first experience for him, but he's not the first young up-and-coming star to have a tough experience in the playoffs. Won't be the last. I think he'll continue to grow from it. He got a great coach to lead him. Fred, great leader to lead him, and I think he'll grow from it. But, I got to give our guys a lot of credit and our coaching staff a lot of credit with the game plan on them.
Draymond, how would you describe sort of the vibe when Buddy gets in that zone? And related to that, any interaction with him and Jimmy? Him and Jimmy have gone back and forth. And what was tonight like? I mean, did Jimmy say anything afterward, or what was that?
I didn't catch any of their banter tonight, but Buddy was huge. And ironically, I could see just the way he was walking this morning, like the way he was talking, like he was so engaged, and he delivered on the biggest stage. Got to give him his credit. It was huge for us. Sure, it was big for his confidence. We're going to need that Buddy to continue on. And it won't be 9 threes every night, but just the intensity and focus level that he had. Should get on, in these playoffs, it becomes more and more important.
You mentioned kind of your mindset shift from Game 6 to Game 7, the need for kind of a calmer version of yourself. You're about to go to Minnesota, quick turnaround. Gobert, the size of Minnesota. What do you need to do in that series, and I guess how do you have to keep that similar type?
Yeah, I have to keep it similar for my guys. Forget anybody else. But for my guys, I need to stay that way. So I'll be locked in. It'll be good, but finding that balance, finding that line, not crossing it is important for me and this team. And I gave them my word. I'll continue to give them my word.
Hey, Draymond, Steve said he didn't have you guys ready for last game. Apparently you were ready this game. What did he do to to help that process? You said
Number
he's no
one,
new rock.
number one was coming into the locker room right after Game 6 and saying that's on me. I ain't had y'all ready to play. So the accountability and leadership, number one. But number two, just the belief. I would tell y'all, Steve's so calm in these situations. Everybody get rattled, he just be just like this. So when you have a coach that walks in like that, it settles everybody down. And, obviously he's the best in the business when it comes to game plans this time of year.
There were some pretty jubilant scenes with you and Steph late in the game. There's been some hostility with the Houston crowd. Do you guys enjoy playing in this arena and winning in this city?
It's always fun winning in the city and winning in this arena. So Fred had made a comment earlier in the series, said this ain't that team. It's that organization, though. And we like coming to this city and playing in these situations. It's been good to us. And also, I think what you saw from us is, like, this stuff is hard, man. He told me the other day, he said, I got a question, and they were saying, like, yo, this is tougher than it used to be. It's like, man, no, it ain't. It's always been hard. And we know how hard it is. It just looked easy, but it's always been hard. And so just, to get over that first hump, you feel good about it, enjoy it, appreciate it tonight, and move on from it tomorrow.
Draymond, there was a lot of, back and forth physicality throughout this entire series, between you and the other teams. You and some of the other players. But at the end of the day, all of them gave you respect and said that you're a very good player. Fred just got through talking about how good of a person you are, how good of a player you are. What does that mean to you, knowing that all of the negative things you hear about yourself, but knowing that the players respect you like that?
It's always about respect from your peers. Fans will feel how they feel. The public will feel how they feel. It's okay. I'm really not here to appease to them. But when you got respect amongst your peers, that's the most important thing. And like I said, they earned my respect. Always got a lot of love for Fred. We've had our battles, but Fred is a stand-up guy. The way he led those guys this year, coming in last year, it's tough. Continued to lead, believe. Carried this team to a 2 seed. We're probably an average age of 24. So special. But Fred is a special leader. I told y'all the other day, he's the reason we lost to Toronto. Everybody tried to make like, oh, he's not giving Kawhi respect. No, it's not that. Fred was that X factor. We had no matchup for him. We couldn't get matched up with him, and he beat us. Big shot after big shot. But it's a lot. Like I said, I got a lot of respect for those guys, man. They took us to the brink. They never backed down from anything. They got a bright future. If they can continue to work and put it together, really bright future. 'Cause that's a tough team, athletic, dogs. Didn't back down at all. So I got a lot of love and respect for those guys. They made me better this series. I had to get better in order for us to win this series. And that was because of what they did.
I know that you guys are crushed right now, but how proud are you of this team just as a whole for what you guys were able to accomplish?
Yeah, that one hurts, but I'm really proud of the team. I'm getting it back to Game 7, almost being able to win that game. Yeah.
Amin, how would you sum up your season, and what's the next step for you with the summer coming up, working on your game? What are some of the things you want to key in on?
This is the furthest I ever got, so that's a step, obviously. Second year. And just I want to use this motivation, feeling hurts to lose like that. Just, there's a lot to work on, obviously, and got a whole summer for it.
And what do you take away from your first playoff experience and, how the game changes in the postseason and what you can do to adjust in the future?
It's just more intense, but can't let that stop you from playing basketball. It's still basketball at the end of the day. And, yeah.
To that point, you guys had like 30-some-odd missed shots in the paint. Were they doing anything in particular to make it just really tough to finish tonight?
I think we were just missing shots. I don't think they were doing anything different today. We were just missing the easy ones we usually make.
Anything else?
In the back.
Hey, you talk about, using this as motivation and looking to get better during the summer. In today's era of a lot of three-point shots, maybe how important is developing even the mid-range and try to maybe attack that way?
I think it's super important. Like I feel like I could get wherever I want, especially that mid-range area. So that's something I work on. That's something I'm happy with my steps with.
Danielle.
And how do you look at the jump that this team took overall from last year to this year, and do you think that that can be replicated from this year to next year?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm proud of the team. We didn't even make playoffs last year. This year we were the 2 seed, going against a bunch of Hall of Famers, and came close. But I mean, next year I feel like we'll have that experience. Coming into the playoffs time, like we all have been there at this point. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of our rotation guys, I think we got 3 that even ever been to the playoffs. So the rest of us are young, so we can just build off that.
One more? No? Great, thank you.
See you guys.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good evening. Good night.
Buddy, Draymond said that when you walked in, you were walking a little pep in your step, like you even walking a little bit different today. Was there something just about this day that you felt like, okay, you're going to get it going?
Tell Draymond I'm playing a big game tonight. No, but I was just locked in, just trying to find my joy. And I've never been in a situation before, and just trying to seize the moment and relish the moment, and just be in the moment at the same time, and enjoy the moment. And it was fun. A lot of nerves at first though, so I gotta be myself. If I'm not acting normal in the locker room, everybody, it's not normal. So just trying to be myself. But tonight was fun. All glory to God.
How'd you get rid of those nerves? That just that first shot going in, that do it, or?
I was talking to Lone earlier, and I was like, man, I'm so glad I'm starting tonight, because I don't know how it being coming to the bench, because coming to the bench for the game 7 is being really hard, So just starting to get all the jitters out. It's a childhood's dream, We all talk about game 7s. We all want to play in game 7s, but actually playing in the game 7 and getting prepared for it is one of the hardest things ever. And I'm just, thank God for my mom and everybody that prepared me, put me in a situation that I can be prepared, being mentally and spiritually prepared for this. And my teammates, of course, Jimmy and Steph and Dre, those vets, they've been in the fire before, and they know what it's like, and just follow their lead.
Steph and Clay over the years have talked about what it's like to be in the zone, where it feels like the basket's enormous and everything's going in. What does it feel like for you tonight when you get hot like that?
Yeah.
And unrelated, what did Jimmy say to you after the game?
It was being in the zone is very spiritual, just you and that rim and the net and the ball, and you just figuring it out. And sometimes you put anything up and it just goes in, but just being at peace with your game. No, Jimmy didn't say nothing to me yet. I'm not gonna get on Jimmy yet. I'm gonna keep it calm. But today I had to fill his role in for them in the first half. He was slacking, but we all weathered the storm, and it was a great team win collectively. Everybody they did everything in spurts, and we finally get out of the zone. Yeah. When I shot it, I know I had a chance, and I didn't know it was going there. I know I had a chance, and it was, like I say, I always want to give it a chance. And I felt when that opened up, when I went in, that just helped me really come more relaxed. And I didn't celebrate too much because I know we had 3 more quarters to go.
You mentioned it's your first time through it with this team. What was Draymond's speech like last night? What did that mean, just hearing that and knowing about this team, knowing about him, and have him talk about his own accountability, talk about what this means to him and to everybody?
It just shows true leadership. That's what it's meant. That's what leadership is about. He let it know that in Game 6 he wasn't being himself, and I'm sure y'all talked to him what he said, but just him just letting us know what we had to do to complete this mission tonight, and it was fun listening to him. And just like I say, I wanted to play right then because it gave me so much chills. It was very emotional, and guys was nodding their head, and when a guy like that speak, who's won 4 championships, who's been in the finals 6 times, he know what it takes to win. And just having that confidence and following his lead, he's just true professional, true leader, and true example.
But his zone Zone defense turned out to be a big part of this series tonight on both ends of the floor. What can you say about how you guys defended them and how y'all attacked their zone?
You know, we finally cracked the make shot to get the zone. They stopped playing zone. That was the deal. But we couldn't figure it out. And then after that, I think tonight we used Steph different, and we didn't kept him on the ball, and we was able to like adjust to a lot of things. And like I say, for you to be a zone, you got to make shots. And we made shots, and we took them out of it, and we forced them to guard our players like Steph and Jimmy, and we know that they're all world in that category, and we're just trying to make them go one-on-one against our best players. Here we go. Thank you. Have a blessed one. Here we go. Welcome. Jimmy Butler, everybody. Jimmy Butler, everybody. Jimmy Butler, everybody. Buddy, go. Jimmy Butler, everybody. Buddy. Go. Jimmy Butler. Hope today. Jimmy Butler.
Man.
Buddy. Oh, my Lord. Can you please?
Well, I guess what can you say about Buddy's performance tonight?
Buddy gets paid a lot of money to play at a high level. You know, Buddy was Buddy tonight. Good for you, Buddy. Buttered. Good for you. No, Buddy was huge. But we know the type of basketball player that he is. And he's a tough cover for sure whenever he's making shots. But he made so many right plays on the defensive side of the ball, getting the ball where it needed to go. Buddy was really, really, really big for us tonight.
What did you see from Draymond today? Draymond talked about how he took accountability for, I guess, how he was in Game 6, and he made a speech at the pregame dinner. I was wondering, what did you see?
I just saw Dre being Dre, staying poised, not let all the nonsense get to him, expecting what's going to happen. I think that was the biggest thing for him, not letting any of that get him out of character, compete, stay in the game, and be the anchor for us on the defensive side of the floor. And then make some big shots, start us off the right way, and control the offensive side as well.
Jimmy, Buddy had said that team meeting was, he called it emotional, but he credited your leadership, Steph and Draymond, with really getting him to lock in and everybody else. What did you say, and what was it like going through your first Game 7 with Draymond and Steph?
I mean, it's a pleasure to be able to compete in a Game 7 on the road with those two Hall of Famers. And, I mean, my message to my guys was I wasn't being who I was in a sense of pumping confidence into my guys. I think that's a part of my leadership that I've learned and gained throughout my years of playing this game at a high level. And I wasn't doing that for the first 6 games, so I wanted to make sure to let them know that I was going to let you know everything was going to be fine. We're right where we wanted to be. And I think I got back to being who I'm supposed to be.
How much did you guys need? It seems like the last couple of games showed you really needed a secondary shooter, someone besides you and Steph to be making those shots the way Buddy did tonight. From beyond your entertaining byplay with him, strategically, how much did you need that, and what allowed that? Was there more space for him tonight, or?
No, I think we actually rebounded the ball better. We got to the loose balls. It's easier to score whenever you get the opportunity to shoot the ball at that side of the floor. We didn't turn the ball over. All of that plays a role in Buddy having a game that he did and guys being able to make shots at the clip that we did. So as long as we get the ball, secure the rebound, play in transition, it gets easier for everybody.
Jimmy, Fred VanVleet had been an issue for y'all the last few games. What was it about tonight, or how did y'all defend him differently tonight? Draymond was in here talking about him earlier,
Yeah.
but how much of a focus was he for y'all, and what were y'all able to do against him tonight?
I mean, Fred's a tough cover, along with a lot of guys on that roster. But I think it's just making everything difficult, contesting every shot, not losing him in transition or in the half court, and then rebounding the basketball. You know, whenever you don't rebound and then they're kicking it out and you're walking into open threes, the basket gets bigger for anybody in this league. So I think we did a good job of controlling that.
This is your first time through with these guys. You mentioned obviously Draymond and Steph, and put Kerr in there too. He's been through with some of these, and I think Draymond said that after Game 6, Kerr put it on himself that he didn't have you guys prepared. What's it just been like to go through it with that kind of accountability from those three guys?
I think that's what real leaders do. They always try to take all the burden, but that's not the case. You know, Steve can't control if we're not getting the loose balls. He can tell us, but we're the ones that have to go out there and do it. He can draw up all the plays that he wants, but we're the ones that have to go out there and execute and play hard. But the fact that he's willing to take that for the guys is huge. You know, same with Draymond, same with Steph, same with myself, actually. And so many guys on this roster. So, you know, we just talked about controlling what we can control, go out there and compete, and we know if we do that, we will win a game.
Jimmy, obviously Steph only had 3 points in the first half, but he still was leading in defensive rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. How do you explain his impact when his shots aren't falling, also knowing that he could go off at any time?
Yeah, I think that's a true definition of like I don't even know what you call it. The best player, one of the greatest, is that they impact the game in more than just scoring or shooting. So to be able to guard, to be able to rebound, to find guys when they're open, it's a hard job for him because he always got 3 people that's on him, and he's always making the right play over and over and over again. But we needed it, and then when it was time for him to make some shots, we needed it, and he came through.
You haven't had time to stop thinking about this game, but you've got you going back to Minnesota, second round series. Just what comes to your mind about this series, about this challenge? Obviously, quick turnaround for Game 1.
Honestly, I got to like midnight to enjoy this win, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll focus on Minnesota come after midnight. But I'm worried about how I'm going to get my coffee machine to Minnesota and how I'm going to get my kids there.
Jimmy, Draymond was in here earlier. He said that this series actually made him a better player. Just curious, is there anything that you're going to take into the next series that you might have picked up from playing this scene?
I'm going to take how resilient we are as a group, coming from where they were, you know, post-trade before I got here, and the way that everybody locked in and made me feel welcome, and we took off this way. And we never wavered. The confidence never went anywhere. Really good group of hoopers, really good group of people. So that's what I'm going to take into this next round is we got some guys that can play at an extremely high level. And on any given night, it could be anybody's night.
So much of the series was about you and Draymond battling their, double center lineup. You've been with Draymond now a few months, seeing, 6'5", 6'6", maybe. What more appreciation do you have for what he physically has done over the last decade as basically a center?
A lot. But he's been doing that since he came into the league. What I respect more than anything is the way like he can talk to anybody and everybody, and it's so like on point and it's quick. Like the fact that he can tell me, hey, that's 2 loose balls you didn't get, no more. And I'm like, you're right. Or you talk to Steph and you can talk to BP and whoever it is, and it's like, you don't got to repeat it, I got it. Like I didn't know, and I respect it so much now that he'll talk to anybody and everybody quick, to the point, because it's all about winning. So all the battles that he goes through, it's his leadership quality of like getting to the point and moving on that I respect the most.
How would you qualify how physical this series was for you and him
Very,
down there?
very physical. More so for him, because he got to switch, he got to battle both of the bigs. Only got to battle the big a couple of times, and I get to move out there to the guards. But all of that physicality ended with 4 wins for us, so we're happy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
As much as you can or would like to, could you just describe the team meeting last night, what Draymond said, just kind of the setting of it, and how influential you felt it was?
It was just a level of awareness that matters at this stage of our careers and this stage in a playoff series, that was going our way, then got away from us, and comes down to a game 7 where it's all about just what can you control going into a game 7 that'll give yourself the best chance to, win a game on the road, and educating a lot of guys that haven't been in this situation before on what to expect and what wins, in this environment. And Draymond started with himself, just talking about having a level of poise and composure. I talked about some of the stuff we can control that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet, like taking care of the ball, but like not missing box outs, not getting blown by middle drive, stuff like that. Game plan discipline. And Jimmy talked about just, he's going to breathe confidence in everybody. So it's just a matter of getting everybody on the same page going into a hostile environment.
Steph, now that the series is over, is there anything that you could tell Jalen to help him going into the offseason, coming out of his first playoff series like this?
Every opportunity at this stage is a learning experience. I don't know what goes on in their locker room or what he's asked to do or how they talk, so I stay in my lane on that. But, there's always a chance to come back stronger, better, use the off season to be honest with yourself on what you need to do to get better. We all go through that journey in your career. Losing sometimes can make you better, so you just don't let it knock your confidence.
Steph, he was their leading scorer coming into the series. How were y'all able to slow him down and make things difficult for him?
For who?
For Jalen. He was their leading scorer. How were y'all able to slow him down and make things difficult for him?
I think, it's just game plan discipline. They have a lot of threats out there, and, again, they were a 2 seed for a reason because they had a certain style that their defense fed into their offense a lot. But for him specifically, it wasn't anything, out of the ordinary. Just he demands attention, so you want to try to send bodies at him as much as possible. Fred got hot those 2 games. That really, got them kind of settled, and he was a legit scorer for him. Obviously, Sengun's going to do what he does, but if you don't let them have easy baskets, then you try to kind of feast on a little bit of inexperience, but you never know how it's going to go.
Steph, y'all played the Rockets 12 times this year between the regular season and the postseason, and probably every time you've been asked about their defense. But now that this season is over with, can you speak to the uniqueness of the challenge that they face and the adjustments you had to make from game to game going against them?
Every game was so different. It was all 12 of them. I mean, from the rotations to the score, it was low scoring for a majority of them. Then it became a shooting fest, and this game was kind of like the back to that pattern of a low scoring, just defensive, physical, tough, grinded out type of game. So it was, I can only speak for myself in the way that that was one of the toughest defenses I think I've ever faced, in the sense of the physicality that was allowed early in the series, and then their commitment to just trying to take away all the patterns that we usually thrive off of and guard me at half court at times. It was wild. But just staying patient but still being aggressive was the difference tonight. I only had 3 points in the first half and like 5 shots, but eventually I'm trying to make the right play and soften them up, and eventually, you can make your presence felt scoring-wise, but everything else was about just trying to make winning plays.
Steph, 2 questions for you. First one, how difficult was it to kind of play that floor game? Last time you were in a game 7, you just took like 30 shots you were going for, but this one, it seems like you were pretty patient. Was that difficult to pull off?
No, because kind of to the last question, I knew how they were going to guard me, and if I tried to play hero ball too early and it didn't, shots didn't fall, then it could kill our rhythm. honestly, my whole goal was to only have one turnover. Literally, that was all I was thinking about because I knew that meant I didn't have to, I wouldn't get rushed or get into traps. We usually are going to have an open shot somewhere or somebody dive into the basket based on the gravity that was out there. And it kind of played off that way. I missed a couple, maybe 2 easy ones in the first half, and then you start thinking about your shot a little bit. But you look up at the score, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. So it was definitely kind of reinforced, keep playing that way, and eventually I'll find some open looks. But we were scoring fine, and then just get stops and play defense.
Secondarily, you've won 5 series now in Houston. What you think your reputation is in the city?
I'm a winner.
Steph, all that you've been through with Draymond in your 13 years, it looked like at the end of the game you walked up to him and pointed into maybe the stands or up at the scoreboard. What can you share what you said to him? And then also when you guys were walking off, I think Draymond was screaming, "Surprise, surprise."
We were just talking about, it was back to the score. We wanted to keep them under 90. We had done it a couple times and we won. And if we felt very confident that if we could do that again, we'd be able to score enough to create some separation, and that's kind of how it played out.
So much of what Draymond was talking about was about how he lost his poise in Game 6. How important will it be for him to kind of straddle that line against the Wolves, who have Gobert, who have Ant, who likes to talk, who have a bunch of guys who will play physically?
No better lesson than tonight. Make it about basketball. He doesn't need to be a mute and not talk and be demonstrative. We wanted that type of Draymond, but conserve the energy towards us, our huddles. Even when he had that kind of mix up with VanVleet, he didn't react, go talk to the refs, try to plead his case. It didn't go his way. It was an unfortunate call, but he kept it about basketball. And we're going to have to continue to do that, knowing the minutes we're playing and the tough test that Minnesota is going to present in the way that they've been playing.
Steph, you've been through a number of Game 7s. When you think back to your first one, what's the biggest difference between you then and you now? Is it a concentration, being able to sustain concentration for 48 minutes, keeping your nerves down? What's the maturation process like now?
Yeah, it's just reps and experience and know-how. That first one against the Clippers back in 14, we were up at the half, and we were feeling good about ourselves, and then we kind of got walked down by just physical, kind of hard-nosed basketball, and that was kind of the nature of that whole series. It was very similar to this one. And just fully committing to every possession. That was something we did tonight, that we needed every 50-50 ball. We needed, to keep them off the offensive glass, keep our turnovers down. We only had 3 turnovers in the first half. It was just simple things that you can control. Obviously, Buddy had an amazing, first half and took advantage of the space and knocked down shots. But everything else that we could control, we did and checked off the boxes, and that allows you to withstand runs and a hostile environment on the road. Say what? Yeah. Talent, skill. It's something that either it comes naturally or you go through reps and you start to figure it out, how you can manage a game mentally, emotionally, and physically. That's all a part of, the game of basketball. It's the stuff that you see, in between the lines. And for 2 games, we didn't have it. The clear as day, the first possession of the fourth quarter in Game 6, that was a lack of awareness and focus, and then tonight was the exact opposite. So we took advantage of another opportunity.
Steph, we kind of joked about it before the series started, but now that the series is over and you went to war against him for 7 games, how much more respect does the camp coach have for his former camper and Amen Thompson?
I talked to him right after the game. you kind of saw him develop in front of everybody's eyes. I know people who watch the Rockets play, night in, night out for the last 2 years have seen the potential, seen the raw athleticism, the hunger, and he's a dog. And he showed all 7 games. And he's going to be a problem for sure. He's going to try to develop his game, especially offensively. But defensively, he's a freak athlete, and I think he loves the challenge and loves to be in the fight. So, yeah, he was tough all series, and it's kind of crazy that the old man, got it done though.
Steph, Draymond had the talk last night. You had a memorable speech before the Sacramento Game 7. This is not the first time you've won a Game 7 here. How familiar does this feel? Is it like what you guys do? You guys are able to pull it together maybe in different ways, in moments like this, in familiar ways.
Yeah, we're thankful to be able to say that because we've had the way we came into it was another opportunity that we should be thankful for, considering all the things that we've gone through our entire this entire run, and that we're still trying to do it. So you can tell there's such a care factor for every guy on this team, and it starts with me, Draymond, Looney, who's been here with us, and now obviously with Jimmy and his playoff experience. And so we're gonna have to rely on that as long as this ride continues. And the familiar part is, figuring out the chessboard in between a series and sticking with it, not letting go of the rope, and being able to turn the page from one game to the next and meet the moment. It's so much fun out there. I think that's what we talked about to our guys the most, was just there's no more fun that you can experience in basketball than a playoff series, especially if it goes the distance. So embrace it.
Steph, as a shooter who knows that zone, what was it like to see Buddy get in that, especially given his sort of unique personality on this team? And did it bring back any flashbacks of, Game 6 Clay, or when you've seen Clay take over playoff games like that, to shoot the way he did with no dribbling, right? Just catch and shoot.
Yeah, that's what the game called for, and he answered it. Like, to be able to turn the page from, again, 0 for 4 last game, been up and down all series. He'd probably tell you this is the first time he played well in this building, so it was great and timely to be able to have that shooter's confidence that, if the game says shoot, you let it fly, and we're gonna live with it, and I'm happy for him because he works so hard all year. Getting to know him this whole season, you see how much basketball means to him, and this is only his second playoff run, and for him to have a game like that in a Game 7, and he tied a record for most threes, and it's pretty special. So I'm happy for him. Now we got to keep it going.
What do you expect from Anthony Edwards in facing Minnesota?
He watched a little bit of their first round series. He's playing with supreme confidence. We know, they had their run last year, and they're a new look with Randall, but same Ant who's trying to take strides with every opportunity he gets, and it's going to be a tough challenge. We know you're gonna have to send multiple bodies at him and figure out a game plan to go at him, but. Yeah, they're hot right now. They've been playing some great basketball the last couple of months, and we're excited that we have an opportunity to have some more basketball to play too.
Thank you.